All right, folks, stop what you're doing because this morning, President Donald J. Trump just confirmed it. Charlie Kirk's suspected assassin is now in custody. And the FBI, they're scrambling with a live press conference that has America just absolutely stunned. Now, think about this, guys. Only 2 days ago, all we had were some grainy rooftop clips. We caught a live, there was like a limp. The shooter, he had a limp. Clearly, something was wrong with his leg. We didn't really know what it was at that point. But that limp was caught on surveillance. There was a discarded rifle in the woods. The country was in complete shock. And then boom, guys, Trump dropped this bombshell live on Fox and Friends, announcing with a high degree of certainty that the killer has been caught. Now, I don't know about you guys, but I was starting to lose a little bit of faith in the FBI because I'm like, man, they didn't catch this guy yet. And they were saying like they weren't going to release the footage of the guy until they had exhausted their own resources, which would mean that they couldn't figure it out. And so drop an amen in the comments down below if you're happy that this suspected assassin got caught. But here's where it gets real wild, because this wasn't just the FBI. It wasn't just local cops either. According to President Trump, and I'm going to share the clip with you guys in a second, it was a father and a minister. Yes, a minister with ties to law enforcement who stepped in and delivered the assassin straight into the U.S. Marshal in custody. Now, I got to ask you guys, does this give you a whole lot of faith in the U.S. Marshal and the FBI? If citizens, local citizens like me and you, a minister and a dad, were able to bring this guy in, but the U.S. Marshal and the FBI couldn't do it? Like regular civilians like me and you had to step in and do their job. Drop a 1 if you're okay with that. Drop a 2 if this is an embarrassment to our protected forces. Ladies and gentlemen, this is not just a capture. This is a story this is going to shake this nation to its core, because the questions are now way bigger than the headlines. Who is Tyler Robinson, the 21-year-old from Utah, accused of assassinating one of the most influential conservative voices in America? Who is this guy? But not only that, how did he sneak past security as tight as the Secret Service? And why is Trump already demanding the death penalty? We got a lot to talk about today, guys. Hit the like button, subscribe. I really appreciate the support, guys. But make no mistake, this is more than just an arrest. This is a direct attack on the America First movement. And as Trump himself has said just, a few moments ago, everybody worked together. And I'm happy everybody worked together, but I'm just saying, I kind of expected the FBI to do a little bit. Well, I expected the FBI, local police, U.S. Marshal, they should have brought him in. Why? Anyway, I'm going to share that with you guys. You guys will make your own decisions. I know you guys are going to give me an earful in the comments, but this is clearly a direct attack on the America First movement, guys. So thankfully, as Trump said, everybody worked together. We've got him. He's in custody. But folks, if Charlie Kirk, at only 31 years old, with one of the sharpest security teams in the country, can be gunned down in broad daylight, then what does it mean for everyone else? So, ladies and gentlemen, breaking news. President Donald J. Trump just confirmed it. The suspected assassin of Charlie Kirk is now in custody, and the FBI, they're holding a live press conference that has stunned the entire nation. So think about this, guys. Only 2 days ago, all of America, all we had was a blurry clip of a man that was sprinting across a rooftop, some grainy footage, a shadow, nothing more. But today, President Trump himself is announcing the killer has been caught. That is lightning speed, but it also kind of leaves a burning question, though. How did investigators go from an ant-sized silhouette on a rooftop to locking down the most wanted man in America? Well, definitely stick with me, guys, because I have so much that I'm going to be sharing with you guys. Shocking video evidence, the FBI's frantic moves, and this very concerning role of the assassin's own family in bringing him in. Yes, President Trump is not holding back. He is already demanding the death penalty. So, yeah. Here it is. President Donald J. Trump, President of the United States, on live television, he dropped the bombshell. With a high degree of certainty, we have him in custody. The manhunt is over. The suspect who gunned down Charlie Kirk in cold blood during a campus event in Utah, gone, captured behind bars. And the speed is stunning. Less than 48 hours ago, America was watching the rooftop clip on on repeat, blurry, grainy, nearly useless footage. Investigators, they started with, absolutely nothing. They had no name, there's no face, just a silhouette leaping off of a rooftop and leaping into the dark. But now we've gone from a blur on a screen to a face, a capture, a name. The nation is shocked. But this is where it gets even worse, though, because if it happened this fast, then what are they not telling us about what happened or how it happened, right? So here's what we know. The FBI says that grainy rooftop footage wasn't worthless after all. Palm impressions were left on the gravel, smudges, potential DNA, a shoe print, Converse sneakers with white soles, and every step of the assassin's escape from rooftop to parking lot, it was all tracked. Even more chilling, though, they found the weapon. It was a high-powered bolt-action rifle, a non-collapsible .30-06 with a full barrel and stock. Now, this wasn't a handgun stuffed in a waistband. This was a sniper's weapon, and it was dumped in the woods after the hit. Now, the FBI, they went public, making an urgent plea, help us find him. Now, I don't know about you guys, but when the FBI goes public and says, help us find him, that means they need help. They can't figure it out on their own, okay? Now, more than 7,000 tips poured in within hours. This was the biggest wave since the Boston Marathon bombing. So here's the question that nobody can shake right now. Was this really a lone wolf? Or was there something bigger, something organized, hiding in plain sight? So who's really in control of your Medicare coverage? Is it you? Or is it really your insurance company? Now, if you don't review your plan, the answer is your insurer. Let's be honest. If you're not calling the shots, they are. This is why I partnered with Chapter. They put you back in charge of your Medicare plan with the advice that puts your needs first. Now, Sharon Bertusik, she said it best. Chapter was the only one who cared about my needs and not their commission. So I want to go ahead and ask you this right now, guys. Do you want to stay at the mercy of your insurer? Or do you want to do what most people are already doing? Taking back control. Now, most people they're calling the phone number down there on the bottom of your screen. Phone number is 909-563-8279, or they're visiting askchapter.org/Ron. So how did the world find out is the question, right? Well, it wasn't from the FBI. It wasn't from the DOJ. It was from President Donald J. Trump, guys. Trump himself, live on Fox and Friends. Trump looked straight into the camera, and I'm going to share it with you guys in just a moment. The line that set America on fire. With a very high degree of certainty, we have him in custody. Oh, and he didn't stop there. He praised the teamwork of the governor of Utah, local police, U.S. Marshals, saying everybody worked together to make this capture possible. He even singled out Pam Bondi, calling her an incredible person and a star. I want to go ahead and share this clip with you guys.
Yesterday, you were at the 9/11 memorial. We were all watching that.
Yeah.
J.D. Vance was supposed to be with you. He went out to be with Charlie Kirk's family and to get the body back to his hometown in Arizona. And you said you were going to award him the Presidential Medal of Freedom, which was very nice of you. Any updates on this suspect?
Yeah. Can I always say, I think, just to protect us all, and so Fox doesn't get sued, and we all don't get sued, and everything else. But I think with a high degree of certainty, we have him.
I like how Trump did that. As a businessman, he understands to protect the organization, to protect the business, to protect Fox News. He is the suspect. He hasn't been confirmed yet, so he's making it very clear that he's a suspect still.
In custody, right? In custody. Everyone did a great job. We worked with the local police, the governor. Everybody did a great job. You know, getting somebody that you start off with absolutely nothing. And we started off with a clip that made him look like an ant that was almost useless. We just saw there was somebody up there. And so much work has been done over the last 2.5 days. You know, it's amazing, actually, when you start off with that and then all of a sudden you get lucky or talent or whatever it is. But, yeah, I think we're in great shape.
Mr. President,
and he's in custody.
Your suspicion was that he was radical left. and now you have more information. What can you share with us about his ideology?
Yeah, Lawrence, let me just, and by the way, Lawrence is doing a good job. What's going on?
Fantastic job, yeah.
I'll tell you what, I'm very proud of you. I said you were going to do well. Yeah, I think that I don't want to go too far. I'd like to tell you some stories at how it happened, but essentially somebody that was very close to him turned him in. And that happens when you had some of those good shots. Somebody is going to say, whether it's a parent or whatever, I'd rather not say right now. They're going to announce it today, sometime later, probably talk about that. But somebody close to him turned him, they said, whoa. It's interesting where we had very good pictures, but not great, not perfect. And when you look at it, what happened is somebody, and this happens a lot. It happened with the crazy Boston bomber. It happened with others. Somebody that's close recognizes even a little tilt of the head, which nobody else would do. And somebody that was very close to him said, that's him.
Oh, wow. Whoa. So this guy's own family or friends turned him in? What? Dude, did any...
Eventually went to the father, went to a U.S. Marshal, who was fantastic, by the way. And the person was involved with law enforcement, but was a person of faith, a minister. And brought him to a U.S. Marshal, who was fantastic. And the father convinced the son, this is it. And again, I'm always subject to be corrected, but I'm just giving you, based on what I'm hearing, they'll give you a much more active. I just heard about it 5 minutes before I walked in. As I'm walking in, they said, looking real good. They have the person that they...
Wow, guys. Did you guys hear that? Like, President Trump, he didn't even, previous administrations, man, they would have sat on this information for God knows how long. President Trump, he was literally about to be interviewed, and as he's getting this information, he's sharing it with us. I don't know about you guys, but I don't know if the FBI under the previous administration and under the previous FBI leadership, would we have even been at this point this quickly? You guys drop a yes or a no down below if you think we would or would not have.
Wanted. So you have breaking news, don't you, huh?
Thank you.
You always have breaking news, Ainsley.
Right.
Sean's going to be very disappointed that we're not doing it on his show.
He'll be very thankful and appreciative of the police officers that got this guy.
They did a great job, everybody worked together. Pam Bondi is incredible, by the way. People don't know what a star she is. She's incredible. And it all worked out.
Could I ask you just
Wow.
some clarification? So a pastor was able to turn him in, or they got the family of the shooter to turn them in?
Wow. It was a minister, and the minister went to a minister who was involved with law enforcement, by the way. And his good friend is a top U.S. Marshal. And they took it from there, and then it was a father got involved, namely his father.
Wow.
And said, you got to go in, and they understand it. And again, subject to change, but the facts are the facts. We have the person that we think is the person we're looking for. But they drove into the police headquarters, and he's there now.
Unbelievable, guys. This is unbelievable. So when pressed on the suspect's ideology, clearly Trump, he held back. He didn't know. And he's not one of those presidents who, just makes up stuff or, if he doesn't know, he doesn't know. That's pretty cool. I appreciate the transparency. He hinted that there were some early indications that the assassin leaned radical left, but, he said he wouldn't go too far. Not yet. Why? Well, why hold back? Was it caution? I think President Trump, he's trying to play it safe. Okay, that makes sense. Or is there a much darker truth still being verified behind the scenes? Still a lot of questions that we don't have answers to yet. That hesitation, folks, that is a clue, though. If the White House is being careful with language, you kind of know the political storm is brewing underneath. Could be massive. Now, here's where the story really kind of twists from shocking to absolutely stunning, right? So the assassin, he wasn't taken down in a blaze of gunfire. That's kind of what I was picturing. There'd be a shootout or something like that. No, he wasn't cornered in some kind of a dramatic FBI raid. No, he was turned in by his own father. Now, according to President Trump, you guys just watched it with me. You know, somebody close recognized the blurry images, the tilt of the head, the way he walked, and said, hey, that's him. That's the guy. It was the suspect's father. And it didn't stop there, because a minister, yes, a man of faith, you know, but also somebody connected to law enforcement, stepped in. So he reached out to a U.S. Marshal. Together they convinced the father, hey, look, you got to bring him in. Now, comment down below. I want to hear from you guys. If that was your son, would you turn him in? How would you handle that? Would you turn your son in? I want to hear, would you turn your son in? Would you try to extradite him out the country? Like, how would you handle that, guys? I'm a father. Any fathers out there? If you're a father, let me know. How would you handle that? Now, think about that. A 27-year-old veteran of the sheriff's department handing over his son, accused of assassinating one of America's most outspoken conservative voices. He may never see his son again. Now, I'm not trying to, sympathize on the accused, because if he actually did do it, then, he gets what he gets. But I'm just thinking about, from a father perspective, but anyway, so without that father, guys, think about this. Without that minister, would the suspected killer still be on the run today? Now, ladies and gentlemen, the name is out. Tyler Robinson, just 21 years old, maybe 22 years old, college student from Washington, Utah. This is not some grizzlied mercenary. This is not some lifelong extremist. This is a regular student at Utah Valley University, the very same campus where Charlie Kirk was assassinated. And so here's the kicker. This isn't the background anybody suspected. I was picturing some older guy. He's the son of a 27-year veteran sheriff's deputy. What the heck? His mother works for state social services, 6-bedroom, $600,000 house. On the surface, he seems like every other normal person. College kid, gaming setup. I mean, I don't know what kind of games he plays, but you see what I'm saying here? Sushi dinners, baseball cap, and shades. I would never have suspected or assumed anything, And here's a question you really can't ignore. How does someone go from looking so normal, so average, how does he end up plotting a high-level assassination? That's the terrifying part, because if Tyler Robinson could hide in plain sight, how many more like him are out there? Like, did you let me know, guys? Does he look like a traditional assassin to you? You know what I'm saying? So now I want to talk about the setup, because this wasn't sloppy. This was clearly premeditated. The FBI says Robinson had a rooftop sniper's nest just 250 yards from the tent where Kirk was speaking from. Now, from that vantage point, he had a direct line of sight. They even found gravel impressions where he laid down prone. Let me see. Let's see. Tyler. Let me see. What's his name? Let me see if I can find him right quick. Robinson. This guy had. Wow, look at this. 22-year-old resident Tyler Robinson has been arrested for the assassination of Charlie Kirk. The assassin was turned in by his father. The killer then confessed to his father, who is a 27-year veteran of the Washington County Sheriff's Department. Whoa, hold on a second. According to the Daily Mail reported, his father contacted authorities and secured the son before he could be taken into custody. What is this? All right, so you got pictures of him. Yeah, that's him. I guess that's like his college dorm. Look at this, guys. Okay. Now, what is this video? What's this video here?
Congratulations. You have been selected to receive the Resident Presidential Scholarship from Utah State University. The value of this scholarship is approximately $32,000.
Wow.
The scholarship is available for 4 years or 8 semesters.
Wow. So this guy got a $32,000 scholarship to the Utah University. Clearly a smart kid. And this is what happens. I don't know about you guys, but that's kind of wild, isn't it? This guy, Sherry says, Tyler Robinson will suffer abuse and unimaginable torture in prison. Does he look, sound prepared, equipped for what's ahead? That's a good question. Justice will be served until his dying day. Tyler will live to regret his actions every day of what is left of his life. Good. He doesn't. Y'all let me know what you think. He don't look like he's gonna be able to handle himself too well in prison if he is convicted. But yeah, the weapon was it was a full-size 30-06 bolt action rifle, non-collapsible, impossible to just tuck under your shirt. So how did it get there? Was it carried in under somebody else's under everyone's nose? Like how did it even get planted, or did he plant this thing ahead of time? Because I don't know. Anyway, and remember, Kirk didn't travel alone. His security team is among the best in the country. Veterans, combat tested, heavily armed. On top of that, the local sheriffs, you had state police, you even had the paramilitary style units. They were all on scene. And yet somehow Tyler Robinson slipped into position. Think about that. Multiple layers of different types of security, and still the assassin managed to pull the trigger. This means that this wasn't some spur of the moment act. This was calculated, it was planned, and it was executed with precision. So kind of leaves us with one massive question right now. If Charlie Kirk's elite security team couldn't stop this, then what chance does anybody else have? Like, could Trump's Secret Service team have stopped him? I don't know. President Trump, he didn't mince words. He didn't hesitate. He looked right into the camera and said exactly what millions of Americans were already demanding. Basically, he said, hey, millions of Americans are demanding that this man must face the death penalty. So, I mean, this is wild. This is absolutely wild. So Tyler Robinson's own father turned to him. He did the right thing, but imagine how gutting it must be to know that your own son committed such an inconceivable evil and you had to turn him in. See, that's what I was talking about earlier. I wasn't having sympathy toward this guy or anything like that. I'm really thinking about the people who are standing by, who are, I believe, at least based on the information that I have so far, they're just innocent people who knew him. And it's like, man, how do they feel? You know what I'm saying? That's all I'm saying. Now, he wasn't alone. Utah Governor Spencer Cox immediately echoed the call, saying the state will pursue capital punishment as well. Here's why this matters, okay? This case isn't just federal. It's state too. This means Robinson could be hit with charges at both levels, local, state, and federal. Multiple courts, multiple jurisdictions, all converging. This is making it nearly impossible for him to ever be able to try to dodge the ultimate sentence. Because my understanding is that the state is supporting this death penalty, and so is the federal government. And Trump called Charlie Kirk the finest person, a man who didn't deserve this. And he's right. Charlie was 31 years old, just beginning to hit his stride as one of the most powerful voices of this conservative movement. And arguably, I mean, that dude, he was sharp. I mean, I put him from a debate. He was a master debater. And I put him up there with Vivek Ramaswamy. I put him up there with the best of the best guys. And so now, President of the United States, he's making it clear, if you assassinate one of America's patriots, there will be no plea deals. There will be no mercy. There's no escape, only death row. And I don't even think that's fair enough. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's not even enough to me. But here's the haunting thought. Will this trial set the precedent? Is this how America will deal with political assassins moving forward? But even as the news breaks, contradictions are swirling. Is Tyler Robinson 21 or is he 22 years old? Early reports even misnamed him as Tyler Rogers. So how does that happen in a case that's this explosive, right? You got to wonder that. You definitely have to wonder that. So I definitely wonder, about some of the details that are coming out. Still breaking news. And so this is, then of course there's the whispers about the ideology, claims that the rifle or the shell casings carried the engravings, phrases tied to Antifa, even the transgender ideology. Some outlets ran with it. Others, they walked it back. The FBI has yet to confirm, but Trump himself compared it to the Boston bomber, how these tiny details and grainy images, things like the tilt of a head, these are what crack cases wide open. But the flood of conflicting details raises another suspicion. What are we not being told, right? Like, why do the basics, the name, the age, the evidence, why does it keep shifting? Why does it keep shifting, right? Is this chaos the result of sloppy reporting, or is there a bigger hand that's trying to cloud the truth before it comes out? That's what you got to wonder. So now one thing is for sure, whenever the facts get this fuzzy, this means that the story is probably bigger than what we thought. So yeah. Now, if you want to understand the weight of this moment, just picture this. J.D. Vance, United States Senator, or I should say former United States Senator, obviously Vice President J.D. Vance, President Trump's right hand, carrying Charlie Kirk's casket onto Air Force Two. Now, besides him, Charlie's young widow, heartbroken, watching this body of her husband being carried and lifted onto the plane. I mean, man, you can't make this stuff up, guys. This is forever going to, this changes everything. This changes everything. If you want to understand the weight of this, guys, you have to picture the whole situation. Because besides him, Charlie Kirk's young widow, she's heartbroken. She's watching the body of her own husband being lifted onto the plane. I mean, look at this here, guys. J.D. Vance helped load Charlie Kirk's casket onto Air Force One, onto Air Force Two. And it's just an incredible moment at this time. It really is. From New York to Phoenix, Americans lined up, 1,000 strong, waiting to honor him as the casket arrived. Crowds gathered at the airports. Vigils broke out in cities across the globe. People holding candles, American flags, turning point signs, mourning a man who at only 31 years old had become arguably one of the brightest voices of the conservative movement. And so, and that's the bitter truth. Charlie Kirk is gone, not by accident, not by some illness but by an assassin's bullet fired from a rooftop sniper's nest that while he's answering questions from students in Utah, he's being called a luminary, a martyr, a symbol of what happens when you dare to speak boldly in today's America. And that's why this case isn't just about justice. It's about the message that this assassination sends to every conservative voice that's still standing. So yes, the assassin is in custody. The accused, the suspected assassin is in custody. President Trump just confirmed it for everyone to hear. The motive, the ideology, the possible network tied behind Tyler Robinson, well, that part's still a little bit unclear. And so, if it can, in fact, happen to Charlie Kirk under heavy security, surrounded by veterans, sheriffs, and paramilitary units, then what does this mean for the rest of us? For anybody who dares to speak out truth in a country that's this divided? Trump said it himself. Everybody work together. We got him. He's in custody. But he also made very clear that the fight's not over because for Charlie Kirk, Trump is demanding the death penalty. Comment down below if you think that the death penalty should be served there to the assassin. Yeah, for America, for America, the demand, I think, is even bigger. The truth, we want accountability and protection from the forces that are trying to silence every one of us one by one. Ladies and gentlemen, this isn't just about one arrest. This is a turning point. The press conference may confirm custody, but the war for America's future, the war Charlie Kirk gave his life for, has only just begun. So I'm gonna leave you with this one haunting question. If Charlie Kirk can be assassinated at age 31, standing on stage in front of hundreds of people, thousands of people, at 31 years old, I mean, under the eyes of law enforcement and the FBI, who's really safe, right? Who's really safe? Like, comment, subscribe, share this video, because the American people, we deserve the truth.